Hi, welcome back to this YouTube channel and my eBay sellers account, GB Hatchery. Today I have a maintenance specific video. I'm going to work on my Vive Cosmos. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's a VR headset. It's got pretty good resolution. It's kind of 1.5, version 1.5 as far as VR is concerned. And it has a screen that's about 1700 by 1440. And the thing about it is the optics could be better. I think they're designed for a certain type of engineering sample, and it works well for that. But some people have found that they can go ahead and grab the lenses out of this Gear VR, and it has to be the right year. It has to be one of these. It can't be the white one. In fact, I actually bought the white one first, thinking that that would work, but the lenses are way too small. So this one has larger lenses. You can see there's a flat spot. That's the dead giveaway. They come around and then it's flat by the nose. And you can see that that's the way this one is. It is an Oculus product. I'm not really a fan of Oculus, although they are pushing the industry pretty hard right now. I'm not really supporting the company. This has already been previously made. And I realize it's a free country, so as much as Oculus can make products, I can decide not to buy them. So that's the freedom. And this is an Oculus product, although it was pre-made, and they were probably just going to sit around on someone's shelf unless they were going to be used for something. So it just so happens that a lot of people have already done this to the original Vive, and now the Vive Cosmos and the Vive Pro, you can do it there too. I don't believe they have the ability yet. I'm sure someone could probably make some standoffs for it. But I do have a Vive Cosmos, and I got a really good deal on it. I waited to the right time to buy and bought, and actually it's been pretty good. Sometimes the tracking can let you down a little bit, but I leave a lot of lights on. One thing I've been doing is playing without the pad. There's a pad that normally goes here, and I took the pad off, and then it actually made it a lot easier to see. It kind of brings the lenses in closer and you get a larger field of view. When I initially put this on, when I first got it, I was like, oh man, I feel like I'm looking through a toilet paper tube or something. But then I took that off and it kind of opened it up, and it was at least like the PSVR, if not maybe a couple degrees more. So the lenses actually come on a standoff. It's 3D printed, and it's going to bring those lenses out a little bit. So what I think I'm going to be able to do is do this lens change, put the lenses from this Gear VR, use the standoffs that I bought online and put them in here, and then I'm going to be able to put the pad back because it's going to bring those lenses out, and then this pad can go back in and I can start protecting my forehead again. If I still need to go in further, I could probably put some foam on here or something, but it's going to give me more space to where I can have some type of padding here. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start the project. Okay, first things first, I have two sets of standoffs here, and one is from Florida. I bought this on eBay. These are from Florida. This seems to be a different style than these other ones I bought. These came out of Michigan, and it's a little bit different design. If you look at them, I think this has been worked and reworked by several people, but this has been filled in a bit. And this still has a step. I don't think it's really going to matter much. It's not going to make much of a difference. But it looks like the step down was less here. The layers are thinner. And this is a thicker layer. Now I don't know which one is stronger. I've done a little bit of 3D printing myself. You can see the as it changed direction. Those lines are where it's mirror. It's, you know, this might have been faster. They have different types of 3D printers. Some of them are like a tripod, like 3 arms that go like this, and they tend to be pretty quick, but they can get loose. And then they have like the 3-axis ones, and either one of these would work. And I'll leave a link in the description. I think these are both made out of PLA. Almost everything is made out of PLA because it's non-toxic. You can run it in the house and it's not going to hurt anybody, especially if you have a window open and a fan going. But if you leave it in the car and it gets 220 degrees or 300 degrees, it'll probably start to melt sooner than other types of plastic. But this is like bioplastic, so that's pretty neat. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use these ones. I'm actually local to Michigan, so originally I just bought these, and then I bought another set just to see if there was any differences. Maybe I'll sell these, or maybe if I end up with another Cosmos, I'll use them then. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I'll leave a link. If you like those ones better, I'll leave a link in the description. That's the Florida kit, and this one's Michigan. Just one of the sellers. And so we're just going to frame the Cosmos for a moment, and we'll put him over here. And then move this. And then it's time to disassemble the Oculus. Now, I might rip this open. I know you can do it pretty easily. These need no introduction. I've actually had those for a while. I've used them a lot. And they must be hardened. So here we go. You know, I went to Home Depot looking for the American-made tools, and they weren't there. So, and what else? Sears just closed. Now, I kind of feel like you should be able to just rip these off the front face, because that's what you end up doing in the end. But people always, they take it apart. But I wonder if you couldn't just go ahead and just knock these out right here. Let's find out. Hopefully this doesn't end my video. There we go. Okay. There's one lens. I learned that in the trades. Because you normally get to the other side and there's something, you have to take like 9 or 10 screws off of here, and you get down and there's like ribbons and stuff, and then you can push on something that kind of lets this side out, but it's like all we're dealing with is plastic. So and here's the lenses. Now these are supposed to be glass, someone said. I don't think they're glass, unless I got the wrong lenses or the wrong year. Oh. If this is the wrong stuff again. Okay, those are the ones I just took off. If this is the wrong stuff again. So it's a flat side towards you. I think that's the right one. That's the right lens. So that's good for me. I'm going to clean these up. There's actually is that a bubble? What is that? No, that's the other lens down there. I can see the other lens. I thought there was a bubble in it. I'm like, what? There's a bubble. I thought it was a fish tank for a minute. Like one of those things you get at Christmas and you shake them up. Now that's the other lens down there. Okay. So I'm going to clean these up before I put these in here. All right, get some water on the table, no big deal. Whatever happens is going to get recorded. I don't care if I have stuff underneath my fingernails, whatever. You're getting the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No piggybacks. There you go. Actually, if you want to make a comment down below, if you see anything I'm doing that you want to say something about, go ahead. I don't mind at all. Now there have been quite a number of people doing this, but I looked at the sales on these, and the number of Cosmos is way outnumbers the number of kits going out to modify them. So I think a lot of people are not doing it. Take a little bath towel, clean these up. Now I'm thinking this might not be perfect. There might be some dust in it. What I was thinking about doing is just getting it ready and getting it on there and just switching them super quick. Just not even giving dust time to get in there, because I don't have a way to blow it out. I don't have one of those. And then if I see dust in there, I'll pull the lens off. I'll blow it out with the the duster, and then I'll put it back. But the dust thing has kind of got me a little bit anxious about doing this job. It makes me want to do it at the right time, you know, when the wind's not blowing and, you know, we haven't been cooking. No flour's been flying, and all these things need to line up. But at some point, I just figure it's got to be done. Got to do it. The planets have aligned enough. Whoops. See, that's the type of thing. I wanted to keep these off here because this might have dust on it. They look pretty good, though. That's pretty good. So these are a different kind of lens. I think they say it causes barrel distortion. So with that, there's a way to program it out. I may or may not make that part of this video. You know, I think I'm going to put it in the comments how that worked out, because you just go in and you change the settings. Maybe I'll put a link to the program. But some people say you don't need it. They just say you put these in and you're good. But I think there's a small amount of distortion. It makes you feel like you're in a fish tank, which is why they do the other kind, because this is closer and that's further away, and there's actual engineering reasons of light. Like they measured everything and they said, nah, it's got to be like this, and they're probably right, and that's why they do what they do. But some people have engineered this as well, so who's right and who's wrong? In this instance, we're just going to put these on. That snapped. Got a snap on that one. Now I have to put fingerprints on it. There we go. Just gets in there. So they have tight tolerances on this 3D printing. Pretty good. And I can feel with my thumb that it's set the same all the way around pretty well. It might actually not be perfectly flat. It might be kind of angled. They say you have to change your IPD adjustment, kind of bring them in together, 2 millimeter. You get the same comfort setting if you bring it in a little bit. So some people, I think, have designed these where they bring it in a little for you. The standoff is changed so you don't have to do that. And they say that you just get no barrel distortion. I've heard some people say they don't get barrel distortion with these. It's not an issue with them. Other people say I can see it. And then there's a program that you can use and a file that you can upload, and it will take that out for you. So there's one. But I think what I'm going to do for this video is get these lenses out, get them put in, and then just put one in. And then I'll go back and forth with the camera. And we'll see just what all we're talking about with this. There's like a little something on there. I've got to watch that. You know, originally these are probably assembled in a clean room. Meticulously assembled. Okay. Seems like I should do the outside first. I don't know. I don't want to touch the lens anymore. Okay. Any side. So it's more flat. It's more round on that side. Now they say, I've heard from people who have done this, that you really want to make sure they seat all the way down when you put them in. If they're not seated, you're going to be disappointed, because all the tolerances are worked out already. Alright, so here we are with this guy. As you can see, no head pad. I've been getting this in my forehead. Just design right here. So I'll be happy to be able to put that pad back on. There's a pad. It's a nice pad. It's a little dusty now because it's been sitting down by my router where all the dust goes for the computer. But yeah, that fits up in there, and it's a lot more comfortable. Way more comfortable with this pad in there. As you can see, that's just hugely more comfortable. So I'll be glad to get that in there. These are a little bit dirty. But what I was thinking is just pop that out and put the new one in. What's nice is that it's almost like they knew you were going to have to do the lenses because they made this flip up. So it makes it easier to do the lenses. We actually like the flip up design. My girlfriend wears glasses and she plays VR with me. Knock on wood. And you know, we like the Cosmos. We had the PSVR also. And we're open to other VR systems. Where do we do here? Where does that come up? Kind of bunged mine up a little bit. I might not be able to go back to the old lenses. I'd have to buy a Vive Pro to feel better about it. But if you look, there's just the tiniest little thin wall right there. It's just a thin wall. Right there. It's the thinnest thing. And this lip is flush with it on the side. So you kind of got to get on the side, actually. I was kind of going from the top thinking this was it. But it's right there. That's it. That little thin wall. I don't want to bung that up, but I think you get underneath that and then pry up. It's sticky. So I'm going to put this flat side in first and then push the rest in. There's like some sticky stuff down there. I could feel it sticking. Okay, that's it. That's the lens mod. So there it is. And I'm happy that I will be able to use that pad again. That's just going to be amazing. Because it's been bad. The FOV's been good, but then the comfort level went way down. It's a comfortable headset. It's different. Everything they're saying is valid. You know, your hands do fly away, but it's inside-out tracking. The controllers are pretty substantial on this one. I like them. I just personally like them. They feel heavy. And I like this ring, and I'm used to it. But when I get used to another headset, I'll be used to that one. So, honestly, I would probably pick up a Vive Pro 2 in another year and a half when I can get one for $300. Or maybe, I've seen Index do pretty well. Maybe an Index 2 would be in the cards. But really, if your computer can only display so much, the more headset can cause you problems, because I was playing Isle of Man in 60 FPS and getting really good graphics, and then I got this, and all of a sudden it was kind of shaving 5 FPS off because I had to think about more pixels, even though I had all the graphics settings the same. It was in Vortex, so it was still doing Vortex. It was still rendering the same graphics with the same resolution, but it had to think about more pixels, cutting it up into more pixels, and this was actually costing some performance. So it's just like a 4K TV. If you have a 1080p TV, you get a lot more FPS, and these headsets are all the same way. If you have way more pixels, that's cool, but you're going to be pushing all those pixels, and your monitor has to think about it. Just like when you're running 2 or 3 monitors, all of a sudden things start bogging down, even though you're only playing games on one. It's got to think about all the monitors and all the outputs and all the inputs. So it all comes into play. So if you have a slower computer and you have like a Rift S and you think you're going to upgrade to something with 1 million pixels, I mean, just like the G2 or something, it has like 6 million pixels or something, and this is more like 3. It's a lot less. So it really comes out to, it looks less, but it also has to compute less. But Yeah, I just upgraded to a 5600X. I got a really good deal on Alienware. Just the half though, because I took the GPU out of it. But that's going to bump me up a bit, so that's cool. But so yeah, let's get to seeing if this is going to work out and see what kind of graphics it's going to give here and the difference. So I'm playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, so here it is, Microsoft Flight Simulator after the upgrade. Now you can see there is some dust on there. There's dust particles. That's the particles of dust. So I'm going to have to blow that out. But I'll just pull them up real quick and I'll blow it out with a can of air and then I'll put them back. If I still see them, I'll blow it out with a can of air and put it back. And you can see I'm moving it back and forth. You can see close to the edge, it's not too bad. Right there, it's just onto the lens. Okay, so here's the other side. This is the Vive standard lens. You can see how nasty it gets toward the edge. There's sweet, then it gets nasty again. Sweet, nasty. It's really before those marks come in. You can see it's, I don't know if it's out of focus because of me. What is this? Oh, I had to go lower. But, let's see what we can do with the dash. See how clear I can get it here. Now maybe if I come back a little bit or go closer. It's possible it's my camera not being able to get close enough. You can see that's about how clear I can get it with the standard lens to a cell phone camera. So how fair is that? I don't know. And am I in focus? Here, let me hit this. Okay, there we go. So I hit the focus. But you still get that though. And it's not that bad. I like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been playing this and it's been pretty freaking good. Your eyes don't go over there. Those are designed for your eye to be right here. That's what those are designed for. Okay, so now back to the new lens. I'm going to focus. There you go, there's focus. So it still has a sweet spot, but it's just kind of better, easier to find. Right there, sweet, 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 sweet. You get sweet spot for about a third of the lens, which is bigger. I think the other one is sweet for about a quarter. Virtually. This is my sweet spot. Flying from airports that I know to other airports and learning of airports that I didn't know of. So this is the Oculus lens. I'm going to have to learn to love it because I think I ruined my other lenses pulling them out. I'm going to go back to the other one for one more time. Okay, back to the standard lens. Find a sweet spot. That should be it. You can see the lines. Those God rays do come out in some scenes. You get used to it though. It stops bugging you as much. But they're there. And usually you don't see them as much because this is like glare from outside coming in. But you can see it's pretty good. I mean, it's not the end of the world. If I had the lights down, you probably wouldn't see as many God rays because this is like it's right there's a sweet spot. That's what it looks like when you play. Not too bad. Focusing as I can. Okay, one last time with the Oculus lens on it. That's the Oculus lens. Sweet spot. Best that I can get it. Now there may be some barrel distortion. And I think it's not too bad with one eye. But I think if you use two eyes, then it might not exactly line up. Maybe it squeezes a little bit toward the center, more so on the left side than on the right or something like that, and it might cause problems. Yeah, that looks pretty clear though. I haven't really put my head in it yet, so I'll do that next, and then I'll make some comments if I think it's worth it. Even though I can only see one eye. I think I'll just cover my right eye. So I know there's other videos out there that explain in depth some of the things, but this is just one more doctor's opinion. I'm not a doctor, but you know, when you go to the doctor, you get a second opinion. And if you're on the fence, I was too. I decided to go for it, and I'm going to talk about it. All right. To demonstrate the barrel distortion issue, I don't know if you can see the ground, but toward the bottom, since it fish bowls, it would bow. Those bugs are getting in the way, the butterflies. But if you're looking above the ground, then those cracks on the flooring would bow down, and then when you go like this, then they bow up a little bit. I don't know if you can see if there's any kind of morphing. See how it kind of bows up right now? Just a little bit. And now it's bowing down a little bit. It's just a hair, but you'll see it in doorways. And you go like this and like that. You get some distortion where it's... Look at that bench. It's not out of this world, but as you move your head, if you look for it, you'll notice that a bench looks a little bit concave, and then it will look a little bit convex, and then it will look just a little bit concave, and it does it this way and that too. Now, it was worse, and then I really pushed down the lenses, and I got a little bit more of a snap out of the first one. And then I also adjusted the IPD. I actually went larger. I was normally keeping it pretty small, and I opened it up a little bit. And it seemed like it went away. Somewhat. Like it's not perfect. But when I go back into that back wall, where they show all the games in the back wall back there, the wall looks like it's kind of bowed out a little bit. Just a hair. I mean, some. It's not as dimensionally accurate as when I had the original lenses in. But the clearness is so good now that I'm not sure how much it really matters. But that's where I see it, is when things they bow out that way, and then as you walk by the other way, it's bowing the other way. And sometimes it's a little bit more drastic, like if you're really up close to something, and then you look at it. Let me get a little closer to something. Hold on. Okay, this is where I noticed the wall seems to like bow, and that corner seems to bow a little bit, and it'll bow this way if I'm on this side of it, And then it'll bow that way if I'm on that side of it. It's just a little bit. And it just doesn't seem as perfectly dimensionally accurate for some reason. See how it kind of bows like that? Like that's supposed to be a straight beam. And it kind of has a feeling that it's going like, woo. Kind of like it's coming out at you a little. So if that's going to bug you, and it's not worth the extra clarity, then I wouldn't do the upgrade. The clarity is through the roof though, and I think I did the mod now, and one of my, I still have the other lenses, I can put them back in. That I mean, the thing is the other lenses could have been doing that too, but it was just so blurry and God rayed that you would have never noticed. You can see those lines just doing a little bit of a morph. Alright, so initial first impressions on how did that work is, yeah, it's a lot clearer. That's quite a bit clearer. My only thing is the side, that the original side with the original lenses, it looks really accurate dimensionally. Like the dashboard just looks straight as a board. And when I look at it in this other one, like the impression is a straight board also, but you just kind of get this little tiny gut feeling that that's not straight. If you've ever seen things that are just spot on straight, you get used to it. And I think they've put a lot of work with geometry into the lenses with the original lenses. The back side of the original lenses is pretty flat. The whole thing is flat. And those Fresnel bumps and all that creates the lensing. So this one is kind of, it bows down and it gets down into the space. So this area is closer, and then over here it's a little bit further away. So it almost seems like the middle bows towards you a little bit, but it's just a little. And I think it's probably something that was already being done anyway, but it's designed, it's engineered to compensate for all things. So it's working out wonderful for what it's designed for. Now we're putting a new set of lenses in here that it's not designed for. So it's kind of throwing a little bit of a curveball to the whole system. It looks like I'm about 2 inches further back. Like if something is really close to me, like maybe a foot away, then when I look through the eye with the new lens, it looks like it's 15 inches away, or maybe 16 inches. It looks like maybe between 2 and 4 inches of difference. Like, you know, you're in Microsoft Flight Simulator and you have that stick between your legs, and I would look down at it, and I went from one eye, and it looked like it was, you know, so far away, and then I went to the new eye, and it looked further away, kind of like I'm sitting back. And from the lenses, you can see more of the screen. You can see less of the screen in the old one, and you can see more in this one, but it almost looks a little bit smaller. So I don't know, I just got really used to the way it was, and the point of view that it was. It really was right where I was in the game. So if I lean forward and look to the side, it's all where my eyes would be on my face. But now if these are If everything's a little bit different and further back, it's going to be like my eyes are in the midpoint of my brain. And then when I turn, it might be compensating because they're on the front of my face and they'll be turning like this. But in reality, the view is from the middle of my brain. So I'm not sure what the trade-offs are really going to equal out to. It's a lot clearer. It's a whole lot clearer. And yeah, everything just looks more tangible. Like I was in an airplane in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I looked out over the houses and the trees and everything, and it just looked more lush. It looked more tangible, like you could reach out and touch it. And the screen door effect didn't just pop out of nowhere. I didn't really notice any extra screen door effect. And it was, the graphics were popping out so much that it was overriding any desire to look for screen door. But I think I could get used to it and I would forget. But there was, when I looked from one onto the other, it looked like dimensional reality was really accurate in the original lenses. And the new lenses, so of all the things that I gained, I feel like I may lose a little bit of well-engineered dimensional accuracy. But as far as my perspective forward and back, I don't know how much of that I'll be able to correct for, or if it's just something I'm imagining. And it's only a couple inches. It's not like 3 feet. But you know, I used to use some of those. I'd get some of those VR phone VRs from like the dollar store and or like a $5 store, and some of those are completely different from your point of view. Some of them, the thing's right in your face. You got the screen right in your face, and you can only see like a little bit. And then other ones, you're way further back, and you're looking at it, and it's three-dimensional. But I think that's why 3D movies kind of failed, because we're all from different areas of the movie theater, and yet we're watching a 3D movie that just won't line up for everybody because we're all at different spots. So that's why VR is so special now, is because everyone's eyes are basically where they're supposed to be to see what they're supposed to be seeing, and it lines up. Basically, that's why I think virtual reality is 3D TV's replacement, because it's done right, because it's strapped to everyone's face, and people didn't want to do that, but then they were going to put on glasses anyway, so you might as well. And then it's all perfect. Overall, basically, I guess I came to this conclusion: if you're an engineer, maybe you would think twice about doing this modification with the Gear VR lenses to the Vive Cosmos. If you're an artist, then maybe you would go ahead, because it's beautiful. It looks nicer, and but the dimensional accuracy may bug you. As I'm going back and forth right now, it's a little bit more zoomed in on this side, the original side. It's zoomed in more. Things look about at 2 inches closer, and you lose. There's maybe less field of view here, but you can see more of the screen, so that's weird. That's why I say it feels further back, and that's what I'm getting. So I pushed on the lens really hard to make sure it was seated, and it's seated, and it's the same as the other lens. I have 2 sets of lenses, and they're the same, so I don't think using a different standoff would make any difference. I think it's just the way it is, and I think you get used to it, and it's clearer, and you have a Cosmos for whatever reason you have a Cosmos for. But if you think about it, all the manufacturers are using the Fresnel lenses, and they must have weighed all the options, and it wouldn't be that much more expensive, if any, if not cheaper, to just make a lens like this. So there's reasons that they're using the Fresnel lenses, and there's reasons people are replacing them too. So I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, if that dimensional accuracy means something to you, you might want to leave it alone. But if not being able to see very well with the sweet spot and all that really bugs you, you might want to do this mod. There's trade-offs to both. If the original lenses were perfect, no one would be doing this. And there are a lot of God rays. and the sweet spot is hard to find. And once you find it, it's pretty good. There's still sweet spot issues with the Gear VR lenses too. I mean, they're not perfect. You still have only so much, and then it gets fuzzy. So, I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, that's all for seeing, for the initial impressions between the two lenses.